Capital News tonight. President Magufuli urges investors to begin construction without waiting on bureaucracy. Uganda's war on corruption begins. National and Uhuru stadiums to be used in the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. Good evening. This is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli has directed investors who receive land for construction of industries to begin construction without waiting on bureaucracy in some government divisions. There are problems in investment in our country. Sometimes it discourages people from investing. People who want to come and invest end up experiencing challenges with so many of the rules and procedures, and I agree that our officials have been a problem in investment. Instead of viewing them as friends, I ask my government officials to change.
Over 3,000 farmers will supply this factory in the coming years.
The Trade Council of the East Africa Corporation, the EABC, will begin cooperation with the International Trade Center, ITC, from Switzerland to reduce trade barriers to East Africa Corporation member states. This move has been commended by traders who said that it will help in reducing transportation costs. Has led the police force to conduct patrols in the city of Dodoma to prohibit political parties' members from demonstrating against government's decision of restricting to work with Professor Musa Assad. The patrol involved the Field 4th Unit, Dogs and Horses Squad. Security was beefed up following ACT Wazalendo Party members in collaboration with other opposition political parties with the intention of holding such a rally.
Natania nilikuwa serious kile kipigo nilichosema watapigwa mpaka watachakaa kweli kweli.
Dodoma police more than 1,000 residents of Putini Street in Chongoleani Ward in Tanga region have defied the government directive to pave way for construction of oil infrastructure in the area and have urged that they be paid compensation. Speaking to victims of the exercise, they said that they did pave way for the oil pipeline project, but the amount of money paid for the compensation was not equal to the value of their farms, and now the government wants them to demolish their houses as well as the school in the area.
People do not want to move to another new area. How do you just invade our farm? Of course, we will be concerned. We are the elderly. When they come back, will we have to leave? And where will we go? Some of us have no spouses, no relatives. This area has been stated as more than 30 acres before the district commissioner, and if this is accurate, we ask that the investor comes to speak with the residents if it is a necessity that they are to be taken for public projects processes. But honestly, the residents do not want to part with this land because they do not know how and where they will start over and what they will do. This is the flow of life. You move from one point to another, but another project comes in and you will get paid your rights. If you are paid for a stall or house and they say they need the area and you have expressed the significance and benefit of the place, you will be paid what is due to you.
The Dar Rapid Transport Agency, DART, have said that a large number of stranded passengers at their stations is caused by scarcity of buses due to some of the buses failing to work, which has resulted in chaos to the users. Speaking in Dar es Salaam, Engineer Charles Ogari said the project began with 140 buses, but now only a few of them are operating. He also added that the government is in the process of finding new investors who will solve these challenges.
Changamano mkubwa kama nyakati za asubuhi na wakati wa jioni. Mipango mbalimbali inaendelea kufanyika.
Members of Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania have called on the Prime Minister's office to lead in ensuring diligence, equality, as well as to provide feedback of missing people reports in the country.
Siku uhuru wa kujieleza unazidi kupungua.
Every day, the freedom to express oneself continues to diminish, with people disappearing and getting kidnapped daily, but we saw no direction from the Prime Minister's office. Human rights violations have also been significant to the point that the other day the President intervened on someone who was implicated in the crimes and had been in jail for a long time.
Imani tunayaogopa.
Ombi langu kwa tume ya uchaguzi nilikuwa
The job of preventing minerals smuggling. The things that lead to minerals smuggling was the presence of unfriendly taxes. People felt that it was better to sell in unknown markets because the high taxes deterred them from going to the markets.
Lakini Wizara ya Madini tunafanya kazi kubwa ya kusimamia utoroshaji wa madini.
The Ministry of Minerals does a significant job of preventing minerals smuggling. The things that lead to minerals smuggling was the presence of unfriendly taxes. People felt that it was better to sell in unknown markets because the high taxes deterred them from going to the markets. The government has done a tremendous job in removing VAT as well as withholding tax so that our miners can work in a better environment. We, Mr. Chairman, are also increasing minerals inspection centers. We currently have 87 centers nationwide. We do not work by harassing anyone. We do not work by kicking new investors. But I am overseeing employment. I understand that if one investor comes here, we have employment opportunities.
Just 1 month after Mbeya Water Supply and Sanitation Authority in Mbeya region introduced new systems of measuring water bills, some of the residents have begun releasing dogs within their house, an act of chasing authority officers away. This was said by the Deputy Assistant Manager of Mbeya Water Supply and Sanitation Authority, Venance Hawela.
The main issue here is the increase in the tariff itself. The tariff has risen a bit despite the fact that service charges have been removed, but then again the tariff has still increased. Also, I do not know why, but when we go to some of our customers, they unleash the dogs on us, and some of the water officials happen to be young ladies who get scared. For those with any complaints about our services or charges, we welcome them anytime. Our doors are open, so you can come and we will listen to you for sure. After getting all of that, Ewura has told the Mbeya Water Authority to adjust its system, as in the USBM number 2, so that they can remove the mistakes that have occurred. This also involves adjusting all the water bills that will be realized to have been mistaken, causing inconveniences to the customers.
Tensions have risen at the High Court of Moshi following evidence brought forward by the 10th witness of the murder case of Humphrey Makundi, a student from Scholastica Secondary School.
In the case of who murdered the Scholastica Secondary School student Humphrey Makundi, a lawyer on the defense team, Elikunde Kipofu, asked the court to dismiss the request of the state's senior prosecutor, John Pandey, who was asking the court to accept the testimony of one of the prosecution's witnesses. It must be noted that the senior prosecutor, John Pandey, made his request even though witness number 11, Dowdy Jackson, was calling upon the court to reject the testimony of the witness whom the prosecution wanted the court to hear. In his response, the senior prosecutor, John Pandey, said that although a witness is the person who has given the testimony, he would like to point out that the person requesting for the testimony to be heard is the Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP. While giving his decision on this minor argument between the two sides, Judge Philemeni Matigori saw nothing wrong with the prosecution's witness giving his testimony in court, and so he ruled in favor of the prosecution. As the case continued, the prosecution's witness number 12, who is the government's chemist, Hadija Said, gave testimony that DNA samples collected from Humphrey Makundi's body perfectly matched the DNA taken from Jackson and Joyce Makundi, who are Humphrey's parents. In the case, the accused are as follows: a security guard, Hamis Chacha, the owner of the secondary school, Edward Shayo, and the teacher in charge of discipline, Mr. Biswa. The case of the murder of Humphrey Makundi continues here in Moshi tomorrow.
And that is all for national news. International news follows just next. And in international news, the Controller and Auditor General of Uganda has revealed that it has been difficult to save millions of money in the country since corrupt leaders have the tendency of investing outside of the country.
The laws of Uganda prohibit a suspect to return money that was stolen until the court has ruled if the suspect is guilty. This section makes work hard to rescue government-stolen money. I think there is need of putting laws in place that will force suspects to return money and assets they stole while the case is still in court. The leadership code needs to be amended so that spouses and children of public servants are put back into the law. Otherwise, it will be a wastage of time, because leaders who steal money do transfer the money into the names of their spouses and children.
President Paul Kagame of Rwanda said that he will not tolerate any person who will intend to jeopardize the safety of his country. Here is more.
This is why I'm saying, if somebody has ideas that they want to bring war to Rwanda, I was telling them they should also be aware that of the danger they face if they do that. It is in good health because we can even keep talking about our problems. We always meet and discuss problems and also continue with the solutions that are there and trying to implement them in different perspectives.
Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga has challenged youth in the country to join efforts in fighting corruption in the country, where he said that many youth are unemployed due to corrupt leaders who are still in office.
Corruption is a cancer.
Corruption is a cancer that must be cured because it has resulted into leaving many Kenyans living in poverty and take away employment opportunities of the youth of this country. Corruption is a cancer that must be cured because it has resulted into leaving many Kenyans living in poverty and take away employment opportunities of the youth of this country.
We end our international news in Kenya. Don't leave. We'll be right back with business news after this break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back and on to business news. The local investment climate, LIC, have discovered that water, electricity and bureaucracy are major obstacles in establishing businesses in the Dodoma region, and these cause difficulties in industrial investments.
This is the issue of providing services in different council departments involving bureaucracy in the service provision, where investors and business people face the challenge of bureaucracy, where they seek services, especially in land department. Sometimes there is no order, and sometimes it is hard to get explanations on things like certificates, leading to misdirection. But if there was good coordination, then areas where land is measured, then TANESCO and water authorities would have gone together to make sure the important services are provided. The challenges need plans from the councils to acknowledge them, set a budget and take care of them. There are also challenges that involve customer care, where sometimes an investor has got an area which has electricity and water, but the services from the council services are not friendly. The barriers are of many kinds. There are infrastructure challenges involving roads, electricity, as well as water infrastructure.
The relationship between World Bank stakeholders as well as public-private partnerships have been playing important roles in fulfilling implementation of major development plans by formulating strategies of reaching the plans without depending on donor funds.
We discussed this with both local government, private sector stakeholders, and well, particularly legal advisors and banks, to seek their feedback on the current document that we're working, which is the Guidance on PPP Contractual Provisions 2019 edition, and to basically seek their views and discuss the matters that are important in the context of drafting PPP agreements, irrespective whether you find yourself, whether it's in Tanzania or elsewhere around the world.
The importance to Tanzania is that the document will reduce the cost and time of preparing contracts. The segments will be known and be used in relation to the time and cost of preparations. If you check, the contracts that we have in Tanzania should be reconstructed segment after segment, but by having tied-out clauses, the cost will be reduced because the stakeholders are already aware of them and they know the impact of every clause in this contract.
Producers and stakeholders of leather products in the country have called on the government to improve the leather sector by establishing industries that will add value of products made from leather and allow many to exploit the opportunities available within the sector in and outside the country.
Cha kufanya cha kwanza kabisa, ng'ombe aanze kulelewa toka akiwa mdogo.
The first thing is that a cow has to be herded from its early days. If the cow has problems from early days, it is impossible to change it at the abattoir. So, when the cow is born, it should be well taken care of with the aim of getting leather and beef. Also, in the current generation, the leather should be used well. This is my opinion.
Hii hasa ni kwa ndio wazo langu.
Tanzania twende kutengeneza bidhaa za ngozi.
Tanzania should start manufacturing leather products. We should stop sending raw skin outside. We should stop sending the first phase leather and start making products right here. Our cow, goat and sheep leather generally can roughly make 40 million pairs of shoes, but the small factories that we have now cannot make even 1.5 million pairs.
That's all for business news. Sports is next.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda.
What's up? My name is Sean Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. The hip, hop, a hip, the hip, hip, hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette.
I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
with Sebastian.
With Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And in sports news. The Minister of Information, Culture, Arts and Sports, Dr. Harrison Mwakembe, has inspected the National and Uhuru stadiums, which will be used in the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations, and he urged TFF to make the press area permanent from the Premier League.
We had 2, and we were told to add, and now we have 4. There only remain small things that we ought to finalize. We have visited the press area. It is a new culture that we have adopted from our fellows, and I would like to say we will continue with this culture. It's not like after the competition, the press area will be for everyone to just sit and relax. No.
The Under-16 basketball national team will use the Easter holidays to prepare for the Zone 5 championships, which are scheduled to start in June of this year within the country.
The camp for the Under-16's preparations. I, as the Federation President, would like to call on all Tanzanians to sponsor different basketball competitions in the country for the development of
Chelsea manager Maurizio Sarri says his club will have to let Eden Hazard go if the player demands to do so.
Cheshire police said a 29-year-old from Nether Ardleigh has been charged with drink driving following an incident in Cheshire. Danny Drinkwater of Bollington Lane was arrested shortly after 12 a.m. on Monday, 8th of April, following a one-vehicle collision on Ashley Road in Mare. Drinkwater has not played any competitive football for Chelsea this season, although he appeared for half an hour as a second-half substitute in last August's Community Shield. The former England midfielder was signed from Leicester for £35 million in August 2017 and has started only 5 Premier League matches since then.
Chelsea's Danny has been charged with drink driving following an incident in the Cheshire village of Mare near Cosford, police have said. And this is more on the story that you just heard previously.
Hazard has been linked with a move to Real Madrid for a while now, with reports on Monday suggesting the Spanish giants have set £100 million for the Belgian. Last night, Hazard, who is 28 years old, single-handedly helped Chelsea to a 2-0 win against West Ham to return to third in the EPL table. After the game, he was asked about the move to Real, and he said it is not good to talk about that now since he still has a contract with Chelsea and his focus is Chelsea for now.
LeBron James has praised his former teammate Kyle Korver for an essay he published on the subject of white privilege. Here is more on this.
The Jazz player, who was a teammate of James on the Cleveland Cavaliers, wrote an article for the Players Tribune and after reflecting on 2 incidents in recent years. His friend and teammate Thabo Sefolosha had his leg broken during an arrest outside a nightclub in 2015 and was later found not guilty of any crime. This year, Russell Westbrook was the subject of racist invective from a fan at a Jazz game. The fan was later banned by Utah for life. Cover, who is white, said he was embarrassed by his reaction to both incidents. He initially wondered why Cephalosha was at the nightclub during the season and partially attributed the abuse of Westbrook to the player's fiery nature.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to prepare this bulletin for you, thank you for watching and have a good night.